All right, let's go ahead and get started. Thank you for attending DWD's Look into Manufacturing Automation Software for Sage 100 webinar. The webinar will last approximately 60 minutes. Due to the number of attendees, we've muted everyone just to eliminate some of the background noise. If you have questions, we're going to have about 15 minutes or so at the end of the presentation. You can either use the chat box to submit your question, or you can raise your hand using the GoToWebinar tool. I'm going to now turn it over to David Overhaul.
Okay, thank you, Sherry. Yeah, my name is David Overhaul. Good afternoon, everybody. I've been a Sage Mass 90/Sage 100 consultant for just a little over 20 years. In fact, last month was my 20-year anniversary as a consultant. And for the last 15 years, I've been here at DWD as a consultant. I'm also a master developer, which means we have access to change the code if we need to, but that's not something we jump on. We try and avoid that whenever possible. And I'm project manager for 6 full-time Sage 100 consultants. We have CPAs in our consultants, so we know a lot about accounting, and we're obviously in Indiana, so we're right in the middle of the manufacturing belt. So we have many manufacturing clients, and we've been partnered with Joe Basaha and Scanco, WO Scan, for several years now. We've got a lot of great success with Joe in that partnership, so that's why we're wanted to share some of the great stuff that he does with you guys. And I'll go ahead and turn it over to you, Joe. And Joe, are you there? Well, it sounds like maybe he got muted. Okay. Joe, can you?
Now can you hear me?
Yep.
All right. Well,
sorry about that. Yeah.
No, I'm just talking away over here. Nobody's listening to me. All right. My name is Joe Basaha. I'm at Scanco. I'll be your resident manufacturing nerd for the next 45 minutes. We're going to go over all kinds of really cool things that you may or may not know about manufacturing. Talking about who we are, what we provide, the software, what it can do for you. It's a 45-minute demo. I could probably talk for 45 hours on the manufacturing module, but we'll try to keep it interesting and moving. And if we need to do a deep dive, you can work with David, and he can coordinate you a deep dive or a one-on-one demo if you'd like. Okay. Who is Scanco and what is work order scan or Sage manufacturing or manufacturing barcoding? Scanco was originated over 20 years ago. We're a combination of 2 companies, JDB Solutions and Scanco. JDB was a manufacturing automation. Scanco is warehouse automation. We merged about a year ago, but we've been in business for over 20 years congruently. We provide barcoding solutions for the Sage 100 world. Manufacturing is kind of new in its last 4, 5, maybe 6 years. People realizing that they need to be more efficient. They need to be more streamlined, automated manufacturing. I want to know where things are. I got to make sure I'm making money, that kind of thing. So manufacturing efficiency and manufacturing automation has become a really hot topic and a big focus of attention. That's why we're here for you. Basically, what we want to do is we want to go over showing you a bunch of different automation tools, starting from Sage, how to get the most out of your manufacturing environment, work order module, automating it, linking it to sales orders, inventory, purchase orders, outside processing, scheduling. We're going to go through all that kind of stuff, all the way out to shop floor tracking, labor, material completions, QC, live dashboards, you name it, it's all available in your manufacturing world. Basically, again, we've taken the 2 worlds, we've merged them together. Scanning doesn't necessarily mean mobile. You'll see here that that mobile is a big part of it, but sometimes mobility is up to you and your environment and what you actually need. We're going to get into, like I said, the efficiencies of what the manufacturing module can do, how to be able to expand what you're doing in Sage now to the efficiency tools that best suit you. One of the things you'll see that we're going to tell you probably a lot of things you didn't know work order could do. So again, normally I might make it bi-directional, and if you've been in any of my demos, I usually say throw chocolate at me, but raise your hand, keep your questions at the end, make sure you ask as many questions as you can in case there's anything that pops up you're not familiar with, okay? So without further ado, we're going to get into the demo side of things. As you can see here, we've got two different pieces of software up. We do this on purpose. We want to make sure that you're familiar with the Sage modules and how Sage works. This is the new Sage 100C platform, which is no different than if you're on the legacy platform or 5.3 or anything older, where you have that split menu. Same thing, same options. It's just this is what the new menu looks like when you go to upgrade. You'll see this kind of thing right here. Okay. This is the Shopfloor data collection system. So we're going to be showing you both these systems. Now, the system is integrated. Everything is integrated into Sage. There's no entering of data twice. However, we have two interfaces because when we get out on the floor, we don't want our guys to have master's degree in Sage, right, to work. We want them just to be able to do their job simply. So we're going to give them a simple interface. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to start off on the Sage side. Now, you guys that are familiar with Sage understand the modules, right? Most people are usually in sales order, purchase order, AR, AP, whatever. Work order module is one of your manufacturing modules on the bottom. Work order is comprised of a bunch of different things. The base work order module is up to the cost roll-up register. These are standard-based transactions in any of the modules. And then from here down is what we add as enhanced functionality. Automation tools, let's make your life easy, right? So one of the big things is everybody knows a work order basically is a bill of material. It's a route, right? We go ahead and we create work orders. Work orders can be created a bunch of different ways. I can go into work order entry and I can literally create a work order on the fly if I want to, just by clicking the next work order, entering a part number in, putting my quantity, going into how I want to schedule it, how I'm going to issue, the steps of my operation, the material that I want to issue, forward reverse capacity planning, hitting accept, and off we go, right? That's a way of creating a work order. We have a lot of other ways of doing it. We can create work orders off of ERP demand. I can go into the inventory system and say, show me my min-max levels, auto-generate my work orders from stock, and creating my makes or sub-assembly, stuff like that. We have other abilities like going into the sales order module, right? So if I'm a make-to-order customer where a lot of my sales orders are driven to the work order or to the ERP environment, I can go into sales order entry. I can go ahead and just pull up, create a sales order just like I normally do, right? I can go into creating a customer. Actually, I don't want to do this. I'm just going to kind of show you how this works. Standard-wise, I can go into my work order. I go to my lines. So not only am I putting this on here, but I have the ability to generate a work order right here by clicking a button. So what's kind of neat about this is you have a couple different things. I can enter the sales order for my ERP demand of finished goods. I can click and generate a work order automatically. That way it creates it, everything's ready to go for production. Manufacturing can pick it up, start working on it. I also have the ability of doing what we call a build availability, which explodes that bill of material, and it says, hey, go and look and make sure I have everything in inventory to build that. So it explodes that parent item right out of sales order entry. It'll show you all the components that are in there, and if you're missing any, it'll tell you what you're short, and you can cut purchase orders, or you can change capable to promise dates, or all kinds of really cool things, right? So again, this is from a make-to-order standpoint if you want to generate work order or build or capacity off of sales order entry, okay? Now, some people say, well, that doesn't really work for me. I don't generate my work orders that way. But I do want them generated off of sales orders. So under work order entry, we have a thing called auto-generate work orders from sales orders. Now, instead of doing them one at a time, I can do multiple. Maybe I'm doing EDIs in, or I have a person entering sales orders all day long, and I want to auto-generate work orders from a range of sales order numbers, or an order sales order date, or a ship date, right? Because I'm lean ERP, and I want to make sure my work orders get in due to ship date and demand against finished good ERP, right? So we can do stuff like that where we can automatically create it. We have the ability to do a forward or reverse capacity. Because work order now is capacity, we want to be able to schedule, we want to know we can capable to catch our release dates and our promise dates. We have the ability to do that. We also have the ability to summarize like items. If I have multiple sales orders with the same finished good on it, I want to be able to group them together if I want to make a more lean manufacturing if I want, or I can not group them together and have each work order have its own sales order attached for integrity purposes. Maybe it's enhanced tracking if you want to keep it that way, or order integrity to vendor or customer, all kinds of really cool stuff. We can also create sub-assemblies. Let's say I create that work order to build that finished good unit. However, there's multiple sub-assemblies or subcomponents, or make the stock items I need to create ahead of time, and those items are not available in inventory. I have the ability to explode those automatically on work order entry. Not only can I explode them and auto-create them, I can also say I want to follow finished goods replenishment. So not just make me or purchase what it is I need to get the work order out the door, but look at minimum stock levels, min-max reorder points. Look at those replenishment handling options you have inventory now, and we can make more or less than what's required depending on what your inventory levels and your replenishment handling levels state. Okay, so those are pretty cool. Some other really cool things we have the ability to do now is auto-releasing the work order for anybody that's in there now. Some people want it in a hold mode till they release it in production. Some people want it immediately hit production. Good thing about work orders hitting your ERP demand is it starts showing the raw goods demand. So if I want to cut purchase orders out, if I have big lead times against material, ordering it in, if I want to make sure that my buyers and planners are getting the most up-to-date information due to inventory demands, we can be releasing these automatically, which is a really neat feature. We have a max lot feature, meaning if we decide in manufacturing that when I create a product, I can only create 100 units at once because that's the maximum efficiency quantity, then if I have a demand for more, it'll create more work orders and keep my maximum work order. Like if I need 1,000 of them and 100 is my maximum efficiency, it'll create 10 work orders for 100. Again, going down towards that lean manufacturing, those Six Sigma rules, the ability to control your manufacturing environment in the most efficient way possible. Okay? So again, just kind of showing you some really cool automated tools. So again, not only can I generate them automatically, but like I said before, I can see if I have something available. My build availability, I'm going to explode out, and I'm doing this now outside of sales order. So in sales order, I can do that, or I can say, wait a minute here, I want to put a work order together. I want to see if I have enough material. So what's neat about it is I can go ahead and pull my finished good item in, right? You can look into inventory, you can see what you have. You pick it up, you're going to say, if I have options on my bill of material. Now, which is kind of cool about your bill of material is, if we do have any options available, it'll ask you questions during the generation of the work order, making sure you're picking the right components or features or options, so it's exploding the correct bill of material items out. We can change yield percentage. If we have a low yield or a high yield we want to keep track of, because we have built-in scrap or something we want to take into consideration, we have that ability. We can see if are available the promise based off components or labor constraints. Maybe you don't have enough capacity. So not just from a component standpoint, but from a labor standpoint. Am I going to be able to get this out on time? How many am I building, right? I enter how many it is, and what it does, it explodes the bill of material out and says, hey, in order to get 100 units out, according to what you have in inventory, you are now short all this product to be able to get this out. So again, I have the ability to take a look at that. I can see where this stuff is. I can also say, wait a minute here, hold on. This is just the bill of material for this finished good item, but this is a sub-assembly, that's a sub-assembly, that's a sub-assembly. Do I have enough material in my sub-assemblies as well, not just the first level of bill? So what I can do is I can say go to Summarize View, and it'll explode every single sub-assembly out underneath the parent item, and it'll show you down 28 levels of sub-assemblies of bills of material. So again, if you want really good information, adding it to your inventory evaluation reports or inventory advisor, and just making sure you don't miss anything along the board, you have the ability to be able to do this. And not only can I see what I'm short, I can also generate purchase orders right out of the screen here automatically. okay? So again, really cool tool to make sure you have what you need to get your finished goods material out the door. Work order scan is the Shopfloor data collection system. We're going to get in a little bit. We have the ability to auto-generate work orders from projections. Let's say your customer or your vendor gives you a Excel spreadsheet with a 12-month lead time, and you want to be able to import that into projections. So I want to have a demand against my ERP system for finished goods and raw components because I have big lead times, or I want to know what those projections are out, and I don't necessarily want to bring them into MRP. We can do that where we can bring those in, or you can bring it into the MRP module yourself. You can do that. We can cut purchase orders now in work orders. We actually have 3 levels of purchase orders. Most people are familiar going to purchase order entry, creating a purchase order, then linking it to a work order, where we say, no, we're going to do it the other way around. We're going to pull up a work order or work orders, multiple, and generate purchase orders for everything I need to cover all those work orders, which is obviously dynamically different, right? So it's giving me more visibility to my inventory tools. I can also do it from inventory. Some people say, well, hold on a minute. This is just a demand against a work order, but I want to cut purchase orders off of inventory demand, including work order ERP demand. So we can do that, and it'll also look at finished goods or raw goods replenishment handling as well. So more expansive options for you to determine what you need to purchase. We have the ability to cut purchase orders from outside processing or outside work centers. People say, oh, wait a minute, what's an outside work center? What's outside processing? If you're a manufacturer and you have any process that takes place outside of your building, whether it's an actual process like plating, heat treating, painting, powder coating, outside assembly, any reason for that order to leave the building and come back, we can have what we call an outside process where you can track it physically, as well as from a purchase order where we can cut purchase orders right out of the work order for the outside process, change the status of the job to outside processing, and the costs and everything automatically go into that work order into WIP without you having to link it or play with it in the purchase order module or in the AR module. So again, more ways for you to be able to be more automated on your manufacturing floor. We have a work center dashboard, which is a big capacity planning dashboard. We take all the work centers, we show what's available, what the capacity is, so we have the ability of looking at what's available, how much time do we have. We can print out dashboards, scheduling dashboards for the people on the floor that go, I want to know what I need to produce today, date-based, this week. Show me my open work orders from a capacity standpoint by my work centers. That's what this work center summary dashboard is. And then the big one, which I skipped up here, I'm going to go back, is this is a big dashboard. The one dashboard that's missing out of the work order module is what do I have on the floor? So I can pull up a work order. I have the ability of filtering on any of these. A lot of people say they just want to see release work orders, or maybe I just want to see estimates. Work order module is designed for a quoting tool. You can have a quote and a sales order. You can link it to a work order and estimate work order. You can use it for costing purposes or budgeting or whatever the case may be. Or a firm planned is a work order that's been created but not released into production yet. But again, what's kind of neat about it is I can go ahead and filter this stuff out, and it basically goes and looks at everything I have, just like an open sales order report or an open purchase order report or like open inventory valuation. I'm going in and looking at all my work orders, right? I can see the work order number, it's been released, the date the order was created, the schedule release date, the due date of the work order, how many lead days out we're at right now, what am I making, what the rev of the BOM or the route was, what am I making it for, inventory or for a sales order or for a work order, right? Because again, remember we said we can make work orders for inventory replenishment. I can have a work order for a sales order demand. I can have a work order as a sub-assembly or demand against another work order, right? So again, clear visibility to what I'm making it and what I'm making it for. What was ordered, what was planned, what's been complete, right? Now work order, we give you dynamic abilities. I can actually over or under complete a work order while having changed firm plan quantity, because now my work orders are dynamic. When we start adding our tools, yeah, I know dynamic and work order doesn't usually consist in the same sentence, but it does. It's totally dynamic now. And we even offer costing rules and abilities to do other things. I can see what's scrapped, my yield percentage for those of you that are trying to get a good grip of costing and yield and what am I doing and what my budget was compared to my actual. I'm going to show you some really cool things that'll probably blow your mind. The last status description, where it was, the status change or update. The last step tracked out on the floor, right? The route, issue, backflush, right? All kinds of really cool stuff here that I can see from a work order. I'm going to take it another step farther. If I click on that now, I can explode the material out. I can say, show me all the material I'm supposed to be issuing to that work order. What the parent item quantity was, the exploded bomb quantity, what I've issued so far, my scrap variance, the actual cost of the material with its valuation method, right? So everything you wanted to really wish you could see out of your work order live as you're tracking it out on the floor and issuing it can be seen here. I can go into that same work order and explode the labor steps. These are the steps in the process. You may have a one-step process. You could have a 10-step process. We don't care. I can see what was done, scheduled start, scheduled due date, planned, actual hours. What did I actually track compared to what I thought I was going to track? The percentage of complete, the quantities that I've been tracking through those steps. If you want to track efficiencies and production, this is a huge tool. The quantity, planned cost versus actual cost. I want to know what I thought it was going to cost me due to my budgets compared to what it actually costed me from labor, cycles, overlap. So again, showing you some really good information live and dynamic now because now we've made work order real time, okay? We can go into all the transactions that were placed against the work order if I want to know who did what, when it happened, who did it, so on and so forth, which is kind of neat. I can drill right into inventory maintenance from here if I want to, look at that parent item on the fly. I know work order is not in the new business object, but everything we add to it is. So when you were wishing you could drill into inventory from work order now, you can do it here from the dashboard. We can drill into other different things here, like work order inquiry, work order traveler, stuff like that. And vendors. We can also export into Excel if you want to, which is also a really cool tool. Okay, so again, some other stuff. Work order entry, now we have some other abilities where everybody thinks you have to make a widget for work order, but you don't. You can have non-inventory items. The work order can have a star part where I'm going to maybe do something like a service job or a service work order where I want to track time and material and build a customer. So I want to track labor and material without having a physical, tangible inventory, but still be able to invoice it and sell it and know if I made money. We have the ability of creating a work order without a bill of material. Maybe I don't know what I need. I just have a route and I want to issue on the fly, like a job shop job where I want to just build it or service it or fix it, or it's a fast make to order counter job and I want to create it. We have the ability of releasing it without a route if we want to, and just build the route as we go. Track different operation codes and build it and see what we've done down on the fly. We can change the route number on the fly. Maybe we've done a build where we created an item. We have a serial number as an asset record where we built a component. And then later on down the road, we want to track service or warranty against it, where I can track the same serial number in. I can make the parent item the same as the child object, and I want to track it as an equipment asset record for service reasons. I mean, we can use the work order now for all kinds of really cool stuff, okay? It's not just build a widget and complete a widget. It's dynamic, okay? For those of you that think entering work orders is not fast, before we jump on the floor, I'm going to create a work order literally on the fly. Next work order, I pick the part number. I like to look through this because I like to see people can see what they were making. I pick whatever part number it is I want to create. I can have options if I want options on this, right? I put in how many I'm making. I do what we call an auto finish. I now can do a quick print where I can print the work order out and I can hit accept, and I just created a work order in less than 30 seconds. So again, you want some efficiencies tools in your manufacturing environment, this is what we do. Now, for all of you that hasn't blown your mind, we're going to get into the Shopfloor data side because I want to make sure we keep moving on some really cool stuff. So we can now create work orders faster. We can auto-generate them faster if we want. We can link them to sales orders, work orders, or sub-assemblies, or inventory. We can have service work orders. We can have PM work orders. We can do work orders on the fly, inventory on the fly. We can do equipment asset tracker tracking now for work orders. We can do all this stuff and then release it to the floor. Now, when we release it to the floor, we're going to start tracking on this. This is the shop floor data collection side. And we've done this on purpose because we don't want to show the guys this. They're going to run for the hills screaming, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to take this out on the floor. We're going to take a traveler or something like whatever they're going to be working, and I'm going to use one here for demonstration purposes to show you what it looks like. It's a bit exaggerated, but I think you get the gist. Work order number, this is what I'm making, how many pieces. These are my steps, right? So I could have multiple steps in the process. This is the material I need on each step. We call this mix mode. Mix mode says, show me the items I need at the step that's required, and they will issue and track and build as we go. Some people have just a route where it's a list of steps and the pick ticket is separate. I don't care either way. We can handle anything you throw at us. Again, we can have a work order with no inventory on it. We want to build it on the fly. We don't care. Let it rip, let it onto the floor, right? So we send out a service work order or a work ticket to build something, and we're going to track it out on the floor. Now, what does tracking really mean? What do I physically mean by tracking something? I know in warehouse we have scanner guns and we walk around and we scan things, right? But manufacturing, what are my options to be able to make sure people aren't walking everywhere looking for a scanning gun, right? Well, here's some hardware. This is some stuff that you guys can take out on the floor to make your life easy. If you are PC friendly out on the floor, you can plug a little USB scanner. It's like a mouse. It plugs into a computer, a notebook, or whatever, and you can take anything existing on the floor and make it a tracking terminal. That's your cheapest terminal. So again, anything with running a Windows notebook, touchscreen, tablet, whatever, we can turn into a tracking terminal. Or maybe it's not PC friendly, so we have stuff like this, which is heavy-duty industrialized touchscreens. 15-inch, they're waterproof, they're dust-proof, they weigh 55 pounds. You can't knock them over, mount them to a wall, pole, set them on a desk. Everybody knows where that terminal is. They walk over, they touch the screen. There's no keyboard, no mouse. They don't need to worry about anything. People love them, right? You put a keyboard or a mouse in front of somebody, it takes them 10 minutes to circle the mouse, right? You stand there watching them as they're circling the mouse because they can't figure out where to click, right? Get rid of the mouse, get rid of the keyboard, make them touch the screen, okay? Or we can do some stuff like tablets. Maybe we do need to walk around, but the little scanner guns just don't work. So we have stuff like this, like tablets, 7-inch, 10-inch, 12-inch, built-in scanners. The scanners are built right into them. They're ruggedized. Throw them on the floor. Throw them, on the bench or whatever. Drop them. I really don't care. These are designed to take a beating. So again, whatever makes sense. And you can have multiple. I can have some PCs, some touchscreens, some tablets, some scanners. I don't care. Whatever makes sense in your world, that's what you use to scan. Okay? Now, what can we scan on the floor? We got that down. We got our terminals on the floor. These are the transactions now that are available to you for your manufacturing floor. Instead of back flushing and hoping I issued the right amount of material or the right thing completely, I can now do a material issue. I want to issue my material dynamically and live on the floor and be able to track it, right? I want to be able to track labor. I want to know where the job is, who worked on it, how much time did it take, how many people did it take to get it done, did we even track the right machine, right, or the right tool, or where was it on the shop floor when we were actually working on it, right? And not only do I want to know that, but I want to know live. I want to know right now. I don't want to walk around the floor looking for it. I want to look at my big 70-inch flat panel in my office, and I want to know where that job is right now, okay? That's tracking labor. Material completion, putting finished goods into inventory, right? I want to get my finished good in. I want to print a label. I want to tag it. I want to auto lot serialize it. I want to pallet it. I want to do whatever as a material good or a sub-assembly. Maybe I'm doing sub-assembly components, and I got to get it into inventory really quick so I can issue it to another work order. That's a completion transaction, okay? So we can do stuff like that. For those of you that don't issue material, want to backflush, you turn the icon off, not a problem. Or you're a hybrid where you want to backflush, but you want to issue exceptions, right? Or I don't want to track labor, I want to auto labor. These icons are interchangeable. I can turn them on or off. You don't have to do everything or nothing. It's all up to you on how you want to do it. We have a time card module for payroll. This is different than labor. Labor is productive or non-productive labor on the floor. This is a payroll module. We have a QC module if you want to keep track of QC information, pass-fail, inline process QC, real-time information tracking. You want to do COAs, COFs, compliances. You want to link pass-fail to the completion or not be able to complete or print a certification out during the manufacturing process. These are all able to be done through your material completions and your QC screen. We can batch or group or nest work orders together for both material and labor. And the big thing, live dashboards. 3 live dashboards. I can see everything going on live from my material to my completions to my labor. We're going to show you that here in a little bit. So, cool, right? How does it work? How easy is this for my guys out there to be able to do this stuff? Okay? Well, again, I've got my work ticket, right? Whether it's a mixed mode, traveler, pick ticket, I'm doing a pick and stage production, or I'm building it, or it's a service work order, I'm going to scan on the fly. I don't care. I go out, I grab my tablet, I touch the screen, scan my badge, scan my work order, my item, I enter, whoops, I got multi-bin turned on here. Sorry, guys. If you guys have multi-bin, we can turn multi-bin on and off too as well, but I don't like to demo multi-bin because sometimes it confuses people. If you have multi-bin, please get a hold of David, and we can give you some stuff for multi-bin. Because multi-bin is free with our work order software as well. So again, material issues, scan my badge, scan my work order, scan my item, enter my quantity, hit accept. So just in case you blinked on a material issue, I'll do it again. Item or work order, item, quantity, accept. It's that simple, okay? Now what am I doing? I'm literally scanning my pick ticket or my route or my traveler or the inventory itself. Maybe we don't want to barcode this and make them have to scan the material because we want to make sure we have the right item being issued to the job, right? We don't care what you're scanning. All I'm doing is scanning an item, and I'm validating, okay? I'm validating live to the work order. So I know what the work order is. I know the step. So if I'm in mixed mode, I can go down that road. I can scan my inventory item. I'm validating. I could do a lookup. Maybe I don't know what was on the work ticket to begin with, right? So I can, if I don't have the traveler in front of me, I still can do a lookup and see what I'm supposed to issue, what I've issued, what's remaining. I can see the warehouse. I can change warehouse on the fly, right? Maybe you have multiple warehouses, and instead of having to do a warehouse transfer, I don't want to do that. I just want to be able to pull. We will update inventory. We will pull it out of the right warehouse for you. You do not need to touch your work order. I can see what's on hand, what's required for this work order, what I've issued so far. So if your work orders take multiple days or weeks to complete and get through production, I know where I am in the material tracking process. I have document options if I want to attach drawings, specs, SOWs, pictures, whatever the case may be to work orders, we can have documents attached. If the item is lotted or serialized, we can distribute. This is really big for machine people, heat numbers, anybody that wants to keep track of lot, food, aerospace. The valuation method is all completely through here. You can see it. I can't get out of the transaction without it distributing and won't let me do it. So now the room for error is a lot less on the floor. I can either pick or scan or issue. It's that fast, okay? Serialized, same thing, doesn't matter. We can also do negative material issues. Maybe I issued too much to the job. I want to put something back into inventory, okay? I can do stuff like that. I can even print labels, putting stuff back into inventory. If I want to put it back, tag it with a lot number or a date and time stamp or expiration or changing it, I can do that. I can do negative issues. I can overissue. Maybe I want to issue more material than what's happening, right? If I try to issue more than what's on hand, it'll go, hey, you can't do that, right? Or we can have an override. We can say, no, we do want to issue overhand. I know what it's going to do to Sage, but we got to do it anyway. So just to let you know, we have the ability of controlling overissue, underissues, overissue quantity on hand, overissue required, totally up to you. You can also do something like this where it says, hey, you're issuing more than what's required. Are you sure? You say yes, off you go. So again, full visibility, full control. We also have auto issue options. I don't want to scan every component. I just want to maybe auto issue one step at a time. Or I want to issue some items and auto issue the rest, like a hybrid backflush, right? So I want to issue some of them and auto issue others. That's not a problem. You can scan work orders, right? I can say auto issue one step, all step, range of steps. I want to auto issue at parent scale quantity. Maybe I only built one widget today, so I want to issue one parent quantity of everything. So literally that fast, it just auto issued all your material on the floor. So as you can see, this is how fast it is to do all this stuff. Totally different than what work order does for you out of the box. I would normally say any questions, but you're probably drooling right now, so I'm going to move on to the next. Labor, again, this is just a fast overview. Labor tracking, this is the easiest transaction. Everybody's usually afraid of tracking labor. It takes too long, right? No, not really. Here's a labor, don't blink. Badge, work order, accept, right? So literally, as fast as I can scan, I'm hitting accept. Now you hear me, right? Everything I'm doing, I'm literally scanning. I'm doing it right in front of you, right? And off I go. So I can scan and do all kinds of stuff as fast as possible. I can have one person on one work order. I can have more than one person on a work order. I can have more than one person on one step of the work order. I can have one person on multiple work orders. I can handle any combination of labor you throw at us. And we also have the ability to batch or dilute. So maybe I have one person running 3 work orders at once. I want to split his time across it. We have 5 dilution mechanisms to allow you to be able to dilute labor. Or maybe they're running multiple machines at once. Or whatever the case may be. Or we can do crews, which is pretty cool. And we can have crews on work orders. So again, whatever makes sense, we can go ahead and track. Tracking out, 2 minutes later, 2 hours later, at the end of the day, Groundhog Day, scan your badge. Now, we are doing a track in and track out. That's the most common. That's the most detailed. We have another option, which is a direct time entry. Scan the work ticket, put some time in there. We have another option. I scan the work order. When I'm done, I scan into the next one, tracks me out of the first one automatically. We can do those. I can do anything you want, okay? We can change work centers or op codes on the fly. Maybe we want to do a first or second pass run, or we want to change an operation, or we want to scan into the actual machine or tool that we're using, right? Because I want to be able to get that definitive tool cost or machine cost or operation associated with it, right? Or something to that effect. So we can change those on the fly. When we're tracking out, we have statuses now, okay? So it's not just a step complete anymore, it's a status. Maybe it is complete, right? Or maybe we're in QC review, or we have an engineering issue, or maybe I'm ready for inspection. I have different statuses now that are available for me by step, by route, by work order. We can track downtime or delay codes, right? I want to stay tracked into the job, but I want to reference a material constraint, a labor constraint, a tooling problem, a programming issue, a drop machine, whatever. I can drop to say why this job took longer than normal. We can track indirect labor if you want to. Downtime, cleanup, setting, changing, employee meetings, right? Sweeping the floor, stuff like that. We also have the ability to auto-deduct breaks and lunches. If you don't want the people to track out for breaks or lunches, you want us to auto-deduct them, we can do that too. So again, full-fledged abilities in your labor transaction. Okay? Again, any questions? Hold that thought. We'll come back. Completions. Let's finish the loop. I've issued material. I've tracked labor. It's now done. I'm completing it. I scan my badge. I scan my work order. I enter how many pieces I completed. I hit accept. Okay? I literally just did a completion. That's as easy as it gets. Again, I'll do it one more time. Work order, quantity, accept. Now, what am I doing in the background? I'm scanning my work order. I could change parent item on the fly if I want. Yes, I could change the parent item of the work order on the fly if you want to. Okay, if you don't want to do that, we can turn it off. We can change warehouse on the fly if you want to. We can print labels out on the fly, tagging the finished good product, putting it on the product, the box, the pallet, whatever, identifying it, work order number, lot number, date, timestamp, who did it. Or maybe I want to print out a certification control. Remember out of the QC module, and I want to print some out of there, we can do that. We can do quantity. I can close the work order if I want to. I also have the ability to see where I am in the completion status as well. Okay, off we go. So again, whatever makes sense. Maybe I need to scrap finished goods. I can't put it in the inventory. I can't disassemble it. I got to scrap it. So I scan my work order. I pick scrap. Now I scan to a step level, right? I have the ability of scrapping in a step because we all know that the farther it gets through production, the more it costs, right? So I go ahead and pick that. I can pick a scrap warehouse. Why am I scrapping it, right? For whatever reason. How many pieces am I scrapping? Off we go. That's a scrap transaction. So again, we're trying to make your life easier. We can be able to do this. And because now we're making work order dynamic, we can partial complete. We can do partial completions with scrap. We can override costing. We can even partial complete work orders now that are lot and serialized and be able to let you conform to emptying your WIP and all that stuff out of work order. Now, if the transaction wasn't good enough, here's your live dashboard. This is the main board where we can stand there and show everybody what's going on. So imagine big 70-inch flat panel, or sitting at your desk, or walking around with your little Surface Pro tablet, or whatever. Here's my labor. I can see what people are doing, the device, the work order, the step, what they're tracked in on, their start-stop times, what they've worked, right? Live on the floor. If I go back up there again, right, and I'm scanning, and I'm doing something like this, right? I'm doing all kinds of cool stuff on the floor. I'm scanning along, right? I come back into this screen right here, and I hit reload. I can see what I'm doing. If people make mistakes, I can go into edit mode. Watch this. Wait, that should have been, he forgot to punch out. So I'm going to make this, excuse me. He forgot to punch out, so I'll make that 229, right? This one really tracked in at 10 o'clock this morning, right? So I'm going to change that to an AM, okay? This person forgot to change his machine. I can change work center or opcode on the fly. Forgot to change status, right? Or put a quantity complete. Or, again, forgot to punch out, right? So what's easy about this is I have full abilities to edit and go. Now you'll notice the lines in front of you change colors. This is a live dashboard. We have alerting rules. If a user has overlapping time, we turn the lines red. If you exceeded budget in the job, it turns yellow. If you're missing a track out, it's blue. If you have orange lines, there's big gaps in between employees' labor tracks, right? They're not very efficient. So again, giving you some really good tools. There's your material issues. I can literally see what people are watching, issuing live on the floor. Not just what they're issuing, but what they were supposed to be issuing. Why are we so much less? Why are we doing negatives, right? Stuff like that. Red lines means they've issued it, they forgot to distribute it. Blue line means you overissued quantity on hand. Again, because this is live, we're showing you problems on the floor. Material completions. I can literally be seeing what everybody's doing, again, live on the floor for completions. I can see what they're completing, what they're scrapping, what job it is, what part, what finished good. Maybe I'm shipping. I want to see what's coming down the line. Maybe I'm customer service. I want to know what's going out today. Customer calls, where's my job? Can I get any partials today, right? All those questions you ask yourself and you do the shuffle or walkie-talkie shuffle, now you can look at a dashboard and see what you got going on. Everything gets processed up into Sage automatically. QC module, I know I'm running a little bit late. Real quick, just going to hit it. QC module gives you the ability to track and capture information, rework information, right? Rework what I did, sub-assembly failure, failure information, pass-fail. Again, certifications. We have 14 different QC screens you get for free with the program. You can customize QC screens. There's all kinds of really neat stuff. Tying the complete loop into your manufacturing module. And again, we have other dashboards like Shopfloor monitoring screens where you're able to pull stuff up and watch Shopfloor on the fly. Remember I said we have 3 different ones. Again, everything's being collected, and the best part, it's going back into Sage live, real time, so you can see what's going on. And remember that dashboard, right? If you really want to close the loop, everything that we just did out on the floor, we can bring it back up in here again and click on it and see it up here, because you don't have to import or anything twice. It all is a closed loop system, okay? So I talked fast. hopefully not too fast. I went over a lot of information, probably some stuff that you didn't know work order could do. There's a lot of other stuff. So right now what I'm going to do is I think I'm going to open it up unless David or somebody has some questions for anything that I've missed or anybody that would like to see something that we didn't show.
Yeah, so at this point, if anybody has a question, go ahead and click on the raise hand button and I'll unmute you and give you a chance to speak. First one was Michael. I'm going to unmute you. And it looks like you're muted on your own, so you'll have to also unmute yourself.
Can you hear me now?
I can.
Awesome. Hey, question regarding the hardware on the scanners. Obviously, it's Windows-based. Do you have an iOS solution yet?
Yeah, absolutely. Yep, sorry about that. I did miss that. Thank you for bringing that to my attention. Everything that I showed you here was Windows-based. However, like the tablets and that kind of thing, we can go Android, we can go Apple. I could do anything. If you want iPads, iPods, if you want to load this on your cell phone, you want to do that, or you want to get the same touch screen, like we have these touch screens here, we can have those in Windows or Android. We can have these Windows or Android. You want to use your iPads. We are cross-platform compatible all the way across the board.
Okay.
Sorry about that.
No, next question is from Jason K, I will say. I'm going to go ahead and unmute you, Jason. If you'd like to go ahead and ask the question.
The main problem that we have with using Sage in our inventory issues is the fact that we're chemical manufacturers, so we end up using a lot of partials of the intended quantity that sits on our bill of material. So how easy is that to adjust as we're issuing inventory on the floor?
So we have a bunch of chemical companies or people that do mixes or anything like that. Remember, the work order by itself is a budget. It's an estimated amount. If I don't backflush, I can do anything I want with that work order. So in your situation, what would happen is you'd release your recipe or whatever out to the floor with your budget amounts. But as you're doing whatever you're doing, releasing or issuing your chemicals or building, you're going to issue what you actually issue. You're going to be measuring it, or you might be in an over-under issue situation, or due to evaporation or substances that you can't control, you might be in an over-under. But as soon as we add our program to it, we make the work order dynamic, and then what it does, it allows you to see where you're over and under, and you still have the ability to complete over or under. It's all dynamic. We can show you this in a demo. I can literally get down to the minutia level of that if you want to. But as soon as we add it, there's no more backflush. I don't need to tweak firm plan quantity. We can start tracking actuals and use the work order as an actual tool, not a budget tool.
Okay, perfect. Thanks.
All right. I also am getting some typed in questions. I'll go over those after I get the verbal ones. David 10, I've got you unmuted if you'd like to ask your question. Okay. Now I'll move on to Bob. I'm going to go ahead and unmute you. Yep, I can.
All right. We're going to be generating work orders from sales orders. My question is, how would you review all the work orders that were related to one particular sales order?
Yep. So on your work order dashboard, you're going to auto-generate, whether it's through sales order entry or the auto tool. And let's just say we go in here and we go ahead and refresh this. Now what's kind of neat about this is, because this is a live dashboard, we have the ability to sort and filter. So if you remember correctly in this dashboard, I could see what I made the work order for, right? So if I want to see all work orders that were made for a certain sales order, I could actually sort on those columns or filter, which I probably did this in the wrong direction, right? So now I can see these are all done for all these sales orders, right? So every one of these work orders here is for sales order 50, right? We also have the ability of filtering up here if you want to. So if you want to see by order or schedule to release or whatever, so you got a filter here or a filter here if you want to keep track of that. And like I said before, not only can I do that here, but I can also export it if I want to Excel, because some people want to see it in Excel other than the dashboard. That's totally up to you.
All right. Thank you.
Yep, sir.
Okay, I've got a question typed in. Can scanning be done via smartphone?
Good question. Tricky answer.
Yeah.
Can you use a smartphone to run the application? Yes. You have to do lookups. There's no scanners built into smartphones. We are not camera compliant. We've tried to do it. It just takes way too long. By the time you take the picture of the barcode and you convert it, it could take anywhere from 2 to 5 seconds, and usually it's too slow. So we are not camera compliant. However, you can use a cell phone to do it, or you could go into and pick one of ours, like one of these right here, which looks like a cell phone. They are cellular, and they do have built-in scanners. So there's a couple options for those of you that still want cell phone or cellular and scanning abilities as well.
Okay. That is, I do have another hand up. David, I'm going to go ahead and unmute you.
Well, I think that, I think it's Tammy.
Yeah,
I might
Tammy,
have
I'm
missed
sorry.
the call out. Yes, no problem.
You're showing up as David.
No worries. The question I have is, as your shop floor people are entering the quantity of material issued or entering the quantity of completion, is that happening real time, or is there still the update to the transaction register that has to happen for the hit to the GL?
Yeah, that's an excellent question. We have 2 modes. Well, we have a bunch of different ways of doing this. But primarily we have 2 modes. We have the mode where all these guys are scanning on the floor, and we're going to hold it in the live dashboard and let you process it when you want to. That's the most common. We leave it here, you're watching it. When you're ready, you click process, and it sends it into Sage, okay? Or we can say within 60 seconds of you scanning anything, bypass it and put it right into Sage, right? So not only can I put it into Sage, I can also post in Sage. One of our options is we can have an unattended collector just sit here every 5 minutes and run, right? And then we can also update the batches. So literally within 60 seconds, 5 minutes, whatever, of you doing anything on the floor, I could have it in work order, in a batch, or posted, and I can even exclude ones that my batches that are not our batches. So we can literally turn this on any way you want. And then the second part of that question is we can also be selective. We could say, I want you to auto-post material issues, and I want you to auto-post material completions, but I want to leave labor there because I want to see what labor's doing. We can turn it on or off, auto or manual, by module, totally up to you. You have full control.
Okay. I've got another typed in question. How does your time card work?
Sure. Sorry about that, because for time, I was just trying to get through it real quick.
I understand.
Time card is for payroll. Remember, this is tracking labor on a job. Time card is the ability to capture payroll. So a lot of times what people will do is they'll leave both screens open, right? You could be punching in on a jobs here. This is for payroll. It punches in or out. We also have what we call a live payroll dashboard. So the HR person could be standing there watching their time card live, right? Just like you were watching your labor on the floor live, we can watch time card live. We can see what the employee's punching it out. We have rounding rules. We can see auto actual times and rounded times. We have round up, round down, round scheduling. We have an employee scheduling module where we can have start, stop, lunches, auto shifting. We can do auto lunch punching, auto punch employee. We have different exemptions and rates. So it's a full-blown time card system with rounding rules, auto lunch punching, shifting, and a live dashboard to watch your payroll punches as well as your labor punches. It's totally up to you.
And those are separate and not tied together at all, correct?
Correct. We offer this as an add-on in case you already have a time card system. This is a module that you can add on. And probably because somebody's asking, this we could either have it go into Sage. We have a lot of people that run imports into Sage. We can have it go into other third-party time card systems, or if you want like a flat file or an import to ADP or an outside payroll service, we can create files where you just import it right up in there. You never have to enter payroll twice.
Perfect. Okay, that is all the questions we have right at the moment. So Joe, I want to thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
Demo. And I'd like to thank everybody else for their time at this point. If anyone has questions to think of later, I know that happens to me a lot, you can feel free to email me. My email address is doverholt@dwdtechgroup.com, or you can call. Number here is 800-232-8913, and hopefully I said that slow enough you can catch it. But at this time, that's all we have. I'll go ahead and release you, Joe, and again, thank you everybody for your time.
Thank you very much.